Hello, blessed reading too. Oh gosh, even that they were like, no, put it back. I was like trying to make it a little bit brighter for you guys because I just felt such a heavy darkness. And this deck, I mean, it's just a no bullshit deck. I mean, right out the gate, it's just they're not messing around, they're not fooling around. But that's what we need, right? I mean, obviously, if you chose this pile, it's because, first of all, Spirit says, congratulations, you're brave as fuck, and it's okay to be who you are. I've been struggling with this as well. They're asking me to share a little of my personal story with you. So, I just want to let you know that for the most part, I'm a really upbeat, happy, it's like we all put on our face that we want the world to see, right? But then we have multiple layers to ourselves. My husband is a triple Gemini and his moon's in Sag, and I joke and I always say he's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and it's like I'm not really sure who I'm dealing with. I have to like sometimes wait a second and kind of, you know, but we're more than just two personalities, right? We have multiple personalities because we're multiple layered beings. Remember seeing that movie Sybil for the first time, and I was just like, if you've never read the book, it's quite extraordinary. And they made a TV movie out of it that was like really hardcore with Sally Field, a very young Sally Field. It was a very long time ago. But it's just so brutal, and you just know that that's happening out there. So I'm getting the vibe from you guys. I'm getting two things. First of all, I'm getting that some of you dabble in dark magic or walk with dark magic, use dark magic, or that you're just in the darkness a lot. Like, even if things are good, you're like the. Do you remember? Most of you probably won't even know what I'm talking about, but there was this show called Gulliver's Travels, and it's based on the books and all that. But there was this character named it's not, I always want to, it's like Gollum, I think, because there's Gollum. I think it's like one of them's from Lord of the Rings and one's from Gulliver's Travels, and they're very, very, very similar names. But the one from Gulliver's Travels, he's the one that, like, no matter how, like, when they're on an expedition, if it's getting bad, other people are like, it's gonna be fine, or we'll be fine, and he's like, we're doomed, I just know it. And I'm getting that vibe from you guys. So either you're the one that's putting the energy into the world, that's your dark mirror that you keep like looking, because when you're looking out into the world, you're seeing yourself, right? You're seeing that we all mirror each other, that you're a powerful entity. Some of you don't even know what or who you are. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you've been coming back, thank you for the support, and welcome back. But when Spirit asked me to do the links like this for the picker readings, I didn't understand. And I'm starting to understand now. It's because sometimes when people just see like the cover photo for a pick a card, pick a reading, pick a pile, whatever, any readings, anything like that, anything that you're looking at, right? It's the visual, right? Because first impressions are the biggest thing. So if you're just looking at like, the initial video, which is on my main page, if you didn't find it through here, you'll find it. It's the waning gibbous reading, the reflect and release energy, the sixth moon phase reading. You'll see like the main one for the tribe, and then it's got like, the links will be in the description box, but they're also going to be open for everyone to see. And I feel like this is like, they haven't even explained that part to you guys, because I feel like you guys, either the darkness is internal, like you're thinking dark thoughts or having dark thoughts, or you can't stop, like you're sleeping, or you're trying to sleep, I should say, and you're trying to, but all the darkness is seeping in, all the horrible things, or the conversations with, the words you didn't say, the whatever, it's different for everybody. It's literally different for all of you. But then there's some of you who are just like in this woe is me thing, and it's like you're wondering why you're not getting better or why things aren't getting better. And Spirit's like, it's because you keep putting yourself in these places of darkness instead of being in a place, of light, right? It's interesting because I had these rings on the same finger, but it's kind of in a weird way. It's like if you look at my onyx, sorry, I've got the sunlight behind me, but you get the gist, right? So I've got that, and I've got, the turquoise. And turquoise is all about love and light and grounding energy, the onyx, and that's for you to look up too, black onyx and turquoise, the spiritual meanings for yourself. But also I'm hearing for some of you, what would be really helpful is black tourmaline. I have a big hunk of it, and it seriously is so good for so many reasons. So research those things on your own. If you're not familiar with them or how to spell them, I'm pretty sure that, when you put it into the search engine, you will find it. But black tourmaline is two separate words, and then turquoise and onyx. Okay, black onyx, two different words. And they may even be stones that you need to work with. Maybe you have them already. Also, if you see staring at us from between the candle and the box is the amethyst. So the amethyst wants to work with you, and that's the light amethyst, and then to the right is the dark amethyst. They came into the other reading too. Their amethysts are really great healers, and I'm feeling that for you guys as well. Like, it's time for you guys to really let go of the darkness and let go of the past and get out of those, hamster wheel conversations in your head. It's fucking over. You can't go back, you can't change it. And one of the things I started to share with you also that was personal beyond my story about my husband was that, you know, I had this conversation with Spirit recently where I said, well, if I chose to be a triple Sag, like Sag is my sign, I'm a sun Sag, my rising is Sag, but my moon's in Scorpio. So for those are the major ones that they say that really like rule us, right? But to go more in depth, you might want to go to cafeastrology, .com or .org, whatever it is, or look up, how to get a free birth chart, or you can pay for one, or you can go to someone. It's really actually much better to actually go to an astrologer who could do your chart, because then they can actually explain it to you and go through each thing with you. Astrology is quite extraordinary. And if you've been thinking about doing it for a career or just studying it in general, this is a huge red light, green light. Like, well, I heard green light and I said red light. So I heard red light, green light, meaning like for some of you, it's just like it's the green light. That's why they wanted the green light first. I get it. Okay, so I misspoke. So the green light is like that's a yesage. Yeah, that's a big yes on that message. I'm trying to translate. I'm like, I can't go that fast. I have to slow down. A lot of energy here. I've got this anxiety going through my body. Also, for the Reikis out there, Reiki yourself, Reiki yourself. It blows my mind when Reiki say I can't Reiki myself. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Even for those of us that say I can't read for myself. Yes, we can. It's just if the ego gets in the way, then you can't, right? So even if you have to do the whole Mr. Miyagi, you know what I mean? And call in the Reiki healing energy. You don't have to be a Reiki to call in the Reiki healing energy. I don't care what anyone says. I'm telling you right now, I was a natural Reiki before I ever was attuned. The attunement was amazing. I'm glad I was there, but I'm telling you, you have the power to heal yourself. It's your darkness and your ego that are telling you that you can't. Think about everything else. If we have the power to do whatever it is that we want to do, right? If we are told this, then why do we keep putting limitations on ourselves and telling ourselves we can do this or we can't do that? I noticed it recently as being an empath. It's like there are things that we can still do, right? We are limiting ourselves in our progress when we put blocks and barriers in front of us. Go after what it is you want to do. If it's not meant for you in this lifetime, or if it's not meant for you yet, Spirit will put the roadblock there for you. Trust that your higher self has already planned this entire thing out. So what I had said to Spirit was, it doesn't make any sense to me if we're all so different and we all have a birth chart that's different. They say that there's no birth charts can possibly be alike, right? Because the planets are ever moving, But then I'm like, well, twins are born, or you're born, somebody's born at the exact same time as you, on the other side of the world. However, not true, because they are really moving that fast. So most of the time, twins are born, but they're like a minute apart, 5 minutes apart, 10 minutes apart. And yes, that makes a difference. If you are born on the same day as somebody in one hemisphere to another hemisphere, it's going to be completely different. So it's a blueprint and a map. It's like our own little personal roadmap to our lives that help us to make certain choices and decisions to make it better. If we avoid and don't listen to our intuition, to our higher selves, right? It's nice to have the astrology chart. It's nice to have that all out there in front of us, but sometimes we actually just need to sit and think about it. like where we're going, what we want, listen to our higher selves. Ask them, why did you make me a triple Sag and a Scorp? Why do we do that? So I had that moment the other day. Because I keep trying to change who I am. And I wouldn't have been born where I was in the world at that time, at that place, with these parents, with these people. I wouldn't have had these challenges and all of these things brought before me and put in front of my life if it wasn't meant to make me who I am today. End of story, period. And sometimes it's really rough because we know we need to let things go. We know we need to let people go, places go, situations go, jobs, cars, our beloved furry family, right? Anybody when they leave us, especially suddenly, or, watching someone die. But it's lessons, it's all life lessons. And your anger is warranted. I get it. I've been there. I've been going through it myself. Because now our shadow is like, the cool part is now I love the shadow of myself. Like I love this dark mirror deck. I'm almost sad sometimes because I'm like, oh, I miss it. I miss working with it. So I was kind of excited that it came out today. Um, but it's also that, like, once you learn those lessons or work through it, you don't have to keep going back there. You can go back there to retrieve a memory or a movement or emotion or something in the M's. That was awesome, right? In the dark mirror of our soul, you can go there to retrieve, that spirit medicine. But we're not meant to rely on the dark for one way or the other. And we definitely aren't meant to mess with dark magic. If that's why love spells, I'm always telling people, like, I love witchcraft. I'm a fucking witch. I love spells. I love things. But there are so many ways that you can use your words, your mind, your heart, and your soul to get what you want. If you are in any way putting any darkness into the world, I don't give a fuck if it is somebody who has done you so fucking wrong that you're like, they deserve to die, blah, blah, blah. You're probably right, in our world and what we believe is good and right and righteous. But it is not our fucking decision. We are living here just as they are. When I was a child, I remember being in Sunday school saying, this feels like Hades to me, or like limbo, or whatever you wanted to call it. I was like, well, isn't this both? I'm like, I feel like it's heaven and hell. And they'd be like, no, no, like this is just like, I'm like, well, then what is this place? Like, I was always like, this makes no sense to me. So we're either going up or we're going down. And then once we go down, we never get out of there. Like, we're stuck in the darkness. We're in hell forever. It's like, no, you can put yourself in your own personal hell, right? And you can take yourself out. You're not going to go to quote unquote HE double hockey sticks. You know what I mean? Belief system. If you're American or anywhere else in the world that was like raised with that kind of like malarkey and belief, right? We were raised with books all over the world, all over the planet. We were raised with different religions and structure systems wherever that place was, but it's all the same shit. It doesn't matter if it's Allah, God, Jesus, Muhammad. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all the same shit. You just put a different name and a different label on it. But this is a life college. This is a school. Earth is a school for the soul, and it's special and it's amazing and it's magnificent. And of course, there's aliens and all different creatures out here looking out for us, right? Just like there's other places. I am convinced that there's more than just this. I mean, they've done proof with cameras and that. Although at this point, you know, have you ever thought that it's interesting that the further they go out into space, we also get better with technology and like our movies and our TV shows and our, gadgets, our electrical gadgets. That's not an accident. All these years, it's like, and then I remember I was watching this Ancient Aliens with my husband, and they were finding things. You can see the like archaeologists and the architects and like all of these people that they brought together for this dig that they found, and it was only found from when like the sands had like blown back, and they could see something sticking out of the sand. So like, holy shit, something's there. And then they started this dig, and I don't know how many years it went on, but anyway, they found these structures that, according to everything that these scientists had studied here on Earth, they were baffled because they said there's no way that anything made this but a laser. There's no chisel, there's no human, this is what a laser does, this is how a laser works. And they're like, but then the archaeologists are like, but there's no way because it's 16,000 years ago, right? And some people are like, oh, Atlantis is just a story. It's like, but the legends and the folklore and all that's there for a reason. So keep questioning. Spirit wants you to question. They want you to ask questions. They want you to look deeper into your heart, deeper into your soul, And if someone, I'm having an issue right now with there's someone that's like has so much darkness in them. There's so much like demonic energy, and it's like, wow. Like I said to my spouse, I said, isn't that interesting that we're both like, this is what we do, and we are both working with this person because this is some heavy shit that's been going on for a really long time. They've been dealing with this for a really long time. So it's like, how do we deal with this? How do we move forward? Do we just up and pull roots and leave? Or do we stay and try to help them further and let them let their reactions, And so we finally got to the point where I'm like, I'm not saying anything until it comes up. And then when it does, I know I'll know what to say. But you know what? During that time, I've been working through conversations. Of course I do. I'm normal, quote unquote. I'm human, quote unquote. It's like all these labels, it's like it's part of our ego that wants to win the conversation. And even if it's for the greatest and highest good of all, we still are like trying to get someone to see it our way, right? We want them to look into our mirror and see our goodness. But what we're doing is we're looking into their mirror and we're seeing our darkness. Because if someone is pissing you off, it is literally a mirror image of a part of yourself you don't like, or a part of you that you're trying to change, and you need to love it so that you can work through it. We all have darkness, but it's how we use the darkness. Because I was okay with their darkness until they started bringing it into my world and then asking me to do something that is against what I believe in to make their life better. And I was like, I won't do that. I would rather walk away from the situation and you and this friendship and everything else than to give them something that I don't possess any longer. Because I've worked through that darkness and I've worked through that karma, and I'm not doing it again. So I hold hope for them and myself and for you, because hope is all we have. When it comes down to it, hope and love are all we have, and the light, because we need both. We need the shadow, we need the light, right? I just put that to the middle now, or to the, I said I put the to the, here's to the extreme, right? Light, and then to the extreme dark. But we have to be somewhere in the middle. And that is what you need to work on. Okay, so we're going to pull some cards for the reflect and release, and then we're going to go. When I look down, it was 1713 and then 1714. So whatever that means to you. And also, it's very interesting. I feel like they want the box to go back up here. So that's very interesting. Maybe like for the imagery, to give you, the because we've got the dark and the light. So we've got dark and the hope. Okay, so dark mirror. Okay, so Spirit, what messages does reading 2, what do they need to hear? Any other messages? I'm also channeling at the same time. So this one came, okay, here we go. Interesting. Masquerade, number 15. It's interesting that the other reading we didn't, they want me to bring this closer so you can really see it. They want you to look at the imagery of the bird on the head, like the headdress and everything. They didn't have us read the book, but this one, I'm getting this really strong vibe that we need to read the book. So number 15, if that means anything to you, it's also the number 6 if you add them together. So I feel like that's you in the background, the masquerade. Oh, it's making me think of this one song. I wish I can remember it. Hold on, I'll be right back. So when I looked down, it was 1913, then 1914. Isn't that crazy? Oh my gosh. So look up those angel numbers, if any of them you were drawn to them, or adding them together, or maybe that means something to you, or a year. So this says the moon phase. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is when I love doing my job, because I get to do fun stuff like this. We are in the waning gibbous right now. So in this book, it's kind of like the 7 stages of death, but I believe in this book they only use 5. They're not going to have me get into it because we have more to talk about, and this is getting long. But you're in the bargaining stage, okay? So, and also this was written by somebody who English is not their first language. So if it ever comes up kind of, whatever, I like to translate. I'm also going to bring this back a bit because I feel like for some of you, you want to take a screenshot of this to read back later. So I will leave that there for you to do so. Okay. So it says, what I can't have forever, I will have for a minute. What I can't have for a minute, I will hold to me for 1 second. The visual seed says, a man's face, young in the flesh and in posture, with a wide open shirt. Over him appears the most complicated and baroque hat straight from a Venetian carnival. Oh, so the visual seed is the card, okay? Which I can bring it over here. Maybe that's why they had me bring this here so it would have something to lean on. Ooh, I like it. Yeah. Although we need this here. So, but you get it over there. Okay. The sentence is, under the guise of Cupid, I will come to you. Under the guise of a thief, I will fly away. Manipulation, gaslighting, narcissism. That's what I'm feeling. So this is either coming from you or from somebody else. And this is what needs reflection on and release. Okay. It's also, isn't it interesting that we're in the 6th phase of the moon phase? It's the waning gibbous, and this is 15 and the number 6. What? Powerful. There is often guilt in taking the mask of Don Juan or Don Juana, meaning like, male and female, whatever you identify with, align with. The seducer is not a master of love, neither of manipulation. He is the master of the ephemeral, of what is fleeting and brief and transient to the extreme. He is the master of the moment, and as such, he forgot all other kind of eternity. There is guilt if you care because you are not building. There is guilt out of loss because you are not treasuring. There is guilt out of indifference because when you don't care, you cheat yourself of meaning and value. Sometimes there is guilt in the selflessness, in the desire itself, in everything leading to pleasure. As if the only pleasure that can be sacred are only those labeled as such. The masquerade is a dance. It is a road that goes in circles and ebbs and flows and always ends with the first light. Before the time comes, hold it tightly. When the time comes, let it go. And you know what's so cool is interesting for me is this is on page 28, and the person that we're dealing with, their birthday's on February 28th, and so was my father's birthday. And it's like, so I don't mean to tell my own story, but this could be my reading too, because I'm like, that's freaking powerful. Also, my husband's birthday is on my dad's death day, which is May 28th. So my dad was born and died on the 28th. It's also number 10, which is completion. And if you take off the 0, it's 1 new beginning. So I feel like for you guys until the new moon, and whenever you watch this, it's timeless, but even if it is on the new moon, I feel like there's like something in this for each of you that you need to release and let go of and put into the next moon cycle, especially like in this situation, the hope, right? Like, I feel like you guys really need that hope. You need to hold on to hope and know that something greater is out there, especially with the, the amethyst being there. This is some deep healing that needs to take place for you guys. I was about to let go and say, I think we're done. And then look at this, number 18, naked before the stars. I'm going to go down a little bit. See the constellations behind her. And 18 is also the number 9, which is like you're almost there. So interesting that it's like, this is what I'm getting to. Like if that came out to, on page 28, came to number 10, you know what I mean? It's almost like, it's like 6, 10, 1. It's like, I feel like you guys have are almost all over the place because it's, help me find the word, Spirit. Exactly. Naked. I mean, look at this. This is hard for you. You put the mask on. whether it's the way this could be physical for some of you, maybe you put on lots of makeup and clothes and whatever, but when you're your true self and you're naked before like the stars, before everybody, oh my gosh, that came out of nowhere. It's your throat chakra too. Like you're afraid to tell anybody how you really feel. You're staying in shadow in this darkness because you're just afraid to like really have hope, because every time you have hope, something fucks up again and when I look down, it was 2458. Oh, that's crazy. Because 24 is 6 and 58 is 13. It's the number of the goddess and of the witch. And I just feel like, we've got this balance too, that we've got masculine and feminine. There's a lot going on here. I feel like there's so much, like this is like an onion that needs to be peeled back of many layers. In fact, I was going to stop after the other card because I genuinely felt like because it was such a heavy thing, I felt like you guys needed to just decipher what it means to each of you. And then this card came. So I'm like, wow. And interesting that it's like masquerade, even though he's wearing this on his head, it's like, maybe this isn't how they normally look. And I feel like for some of you, it's like you're putting on a mask. Or others are putting on masks around you, tiptoeing around your darkness, around your anger, Oh, I just got the chills. So for some of you, and I get the vibe that you guys are like, beautiful, playful people, but yet there's like this darkness, something that's like really eroding your soul. Like that's literally what I just heard Spirit say. It's like it's eroding your soul. And it's also keeping you from hope. This dark mirror, this darkness, it's like it's enveloping you. It's taking over. It's not allowing you to be who you want to be. But you really want to be open and transparent and naked before the stars, right? I mean, this artist who designed this deck chose to put clothes on that individual. But I almost would have, it's like I almost feel like they are naked. You know what I mean? Because some decks, they don't like to go full nude, because now if you go online and you put on readings, they'll like tag it, and take you off. It's really bizarre. So maybe that's why they did it. I have no idea. Or maybe they just felt that, because this is I believe this person that designed this deck is European. I believe they're from Spain. So they're very free and open with, nudity and things like that. I remember the first time I went to Europe and I was watching a commercial, and it was a bath wash commercial, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's naked. And my friend was like, what else would she be? She's showering. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting, right? So even that, I feel like I was meant to share with you guys. Are there any more messages? Okay, this one just pulled out. And this was, oh my gosh, this one was upside down. The colorless angel, right? And you're going back and forth. Again, that's what I said. It's like you're bouncing between the numbers. You're not like growing. It's like, it's like it's like even if you're at the end, I feel like if you keep going this way, this dark horse that's running you, it's like, see how the angel is like their colorless angel. They're lifeless. They don't have anything left. They're done. They're finished. Also, that is a third quarter moon. So if you're watching this in real time, in 3 days is the third quarter moon. So you may even want to work with that third quarter moon energy. I'm going to put, I feel like the masquerade should go back here. And I feel like that's where you need to be. But look at the difference between the colorless angel and the naked before the stars. I mean, her face isn't exactly like happy, but she's also like, when I look at this picture, I almost feel like she's like, brushing her hair, or she's curling her hair or braiding it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she's really chill, and she's looking down, but sometimes when I see this, I see her looking down like a negative way, but instead I feel like she's just kind of like looking down, like off into space, like thinking. So maybe it's just that, if you're not using your throat chakra, it could just be that you need to think before you speak. Because I'm getting the vibe that you guys either just don't speak at all, or like you just like your dark side comes out and it's just not good. Which that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, I swear this is mine too. Because I'm like the lightest fairy, but like, fuck, when I get really mad, I'm just like, my triple fire just wants to rip I'm like, get the fuck out of my way. I will tear you down. and I've been physically abusive. I've been emotionally, verbally abusive, in my life. And I've had to work really hard because I was raised that way. And my dad beat my mom, and, my mom would egg my father on. Not that it was okay, but I'm just saying, like, she would say horrible, horrific things, and I watched her do the same thing with my stepdad. So I was just like, man, I don't know. I'm like, either my stepdad's a less violent person, or you know what I mean? So we have to be responsible for what we bring into the world. No one should hit or touch or put their hands on anyone. No, but fuck, if you're bringing your darkness into the world, it's like, it's difficult for anyone to rise above it. I had a moment with my husband and one of our dearest friends. We were hiking the other day, and we'd all been together in close quarters for, like, 5 days. And I was trying to do something, and I was like, just give me a minute to do something. And long story short, it got kind of fucked up while I was trying to do it. And I just kind of blew up, and I was like, oh my gosh. I said, just like, give me like 2 minutes. And then afterwards, I'm like, I'm so sorry. That's not me. And I had to apologize. I'm not perfect either. Just because I read doesn't mean it's like, by the way, I just realized these are the same moon. Isn't that interesting? Which actually, I feel like this is upside down because the waning gibbous, if this is the waning gibbous, it should be this way, the moon, right? Because it's going dark again. That's interesting. I just fucking noticed that. And if that's the case, then this would be the first quarter moon, wouldn't it? Right? Because it's going fuller. So I'm going to let you guys take that for whatever it is. And I'm not meant to read the book. I'm meant to leave it right there. I hope these messages helped you in any way. And just know, like, this isn't like a tongue lashing to whatever. It's just like, if you want to crawl out of where you are, you have to do it yourself. That's what they're trying to say, right? You have to do it yourself. Nobody can do it for you. And the hope is all on you. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can go in the darkness and work with it. Absolutely. Like, that's what you're meant to do. But also, they had me bring this in, and this is a labradorite. And it's interesting that if you look at the labradorite like this, it just looks like a dark stone. But if you like put it in the light, do you see that? There's a lot of like magic inside of there. Do you see that? But it's like when it's in shadow, you don't see it. So work with labradorite too. I almost forgot. Thank you, Spirit. And hold hope, my loves, because I'm telling you right now, it is getting better. It just doesn't seem like it. And the second that everybody lets the light back in, and realizes that things aren't as dark and ominous as they thought, it's like they've been wanting to segregate us for a long time, because they learned that when, people are in community and in tribes, they feel safer and they feel better. They're more secure. They're stronger. They believe in themselves. They have people who are supporting them. But if you're like in darkness by yourself, and you're like off in a corner, and like nobody, you know what I mean? It's like nobody's helping you, then that shit seeps in, and you start to feel like this. And also, I'm feeling for some of you that you're the angel that keeps giving to the other. Like, you're the one in the picture that this is really you reading about the person that keeps fucking dragging you down, or the job, or the situation, or where you live. I mean, I've lived in places where people are like, dude, I love your house, or I love your apartment, or, I always lived in vintage places and made them really cool and fun and witchy. And I was like, yeah, but I'm like, this neighborhood sucks, right? And it's like, I had to leave, because even though I loved the apartment, I couldn't take the neighborhood, and the neighborhood wasn't going to change anytime soon. So I had to change my location, and it didn't matter that I loved it and I wanted to stay. I had to get out of that dark place. I had to go back into the light. And the only way for me to do that was to leave there. And that's just one analogy, but I'm sure you can have some that go with yours as well. Also, don't forget, the crown is showing, you're the king or queen of your own domain, your own existence. You don't need to hide who you are, or you don't need to like stop being who you are because somebody else's darkness or shadow is interloping into your light. You hold that hope. You hold that in your heart, and you hold like this color and this magnificent energy, right? Because you are this light source. Also, for some of you, if you were drawn to reading 4, I haven't done it yet, but I will be doing it in a minute. I just saw the blue, and it made me think of the unicorns, and they said, yes, yes, yes. So if you were thinking about going to reading 4, go. If not, that message is not for you. And that's for you. If you're like, nah, I'm not feeling that, then Don't do it. All right, you guys, until next time, take really good care of yourselves and each other. All of my information is all about, and also if, like I said, if you found yourself here and new, and this is your first time here, go check out my main page. There's also a link to my my other channel, which is semi-new. It's just like a reconstructed channel that's called Lula's Life. And I'm going to be doing spiritual things on there as well, but not just straight readings. I'm going to be doing nature things and expressing myself creatively and things like that. So if you were here when it was Lula's Labyrinth, it's kind of the same thing, but moving to Lula's Life. And then this is going to stay mostly readings, but it's going to take a minute for me to fully pull them apart. So it might feel like I'll never put the double of something because that's annoying. That used to frustrate me when I'd look at somebody's social media and they post the same fucking thing. I did it too. That's why I stopped doing it, because I was like, gosh, I'm doing that too. So it's they kind of cross reference each other on like things I talk about. But again, that's for you to follow those breadcrumbs if you're meant to. If not, don't worry about it. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh.